Hi, and welcome to another PHP tutorial. In the previous tutorials, we looked at if statements in PHP, and we also looked at else and else if statements. So, in this tutorial, we're going to look at switch statements. So, switch statements are used when you have a variable that might hold several different values. And you might use a switch statement to check what value that variable holds, and then based on those different cases, so what kind of variable it might hold, then it will run a different piece of code. So switch statements basically can do the same thing as if statements, but they can be organized much neater, and you can write them with a lot less code than if you were writing if statements. So basically, with a switch statement, you specify what variable you're using in the switch statement, so which variable you're checking, and then you specify different cases and what will happen if that case is met. So to start with, I'm going to create a variable, and I'm going to call it day, and I'm going to give it an initial value of 1. So basically, with this, we're going to use the day variable in the switch statement, and we're going to have different cases. So the cases are just going to be integers, so 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. And so we're going to use the days of the week, Monday to Friday. So Monday will be day 1, Tuesday will be day 2, and Wednesday will be day 3. And we can check which number it is, so which number day it is, and then display a message saying what day is associated with that number. So basically, to do that, what we need to say is switch, and then in brackets we specify the variable that we're using. So in this example, we're using day. And then inside these curly brackets, we add each individual case. So the first case will be 1, which is actually the value that's in that variable now. And if case 1 is met, we'll just tab across, we'll say echo Monday. All right, and then break. Now, we'll come back to what break means in a sec, but we'll just put that there. Then what we'll do is add another case, and this will be 2. So if this variable here, day, has the value of 2, then this case statement will run. Okay, so what it's going to do is echo the message Tuesday. All right, so day 2 is Tuesday, and then break as well. All right, now at the moment we're using an integer value in this variable, but it could be a string. So this could be a string like that, and we could use a string in the case as well. Oops. Just like that. Okay, so it doesn't have to be an integer, but we're just using an integer for this example. So you can use strings as well in quotation marks. All right, I'm going to add another case here, which will be if the value of day is 3, and that's going to echo Wednesday, break, and case 4, check whether the value is 4, and lastly, I have another case here, and it's going to be 5. Oops, I've put in Wednesday twice. That's Thursday, Friday, and spell that right. Okay, so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cases here. They're each checking what the value of the day variable is. So this one checks whether it's 1, this one checks it's 2, 3, and so on. And so, for example, if day is 2, then it will echo or display this message Tuesday. Okay, at the moment, the day variable is set to 1, so it should say Monday. So if we save that and run it in Chrome, there we go, we've got Monday there. All right, if I went and changed day to 3, and saved and refreshed, then it should say Wednesday. Okay, now the reason why I've added break is because basically if we've got day equals 3, it will firstly check this case here, which is 1. So it would be false, so it goes on to the next one. It checks whether the value is 2. It's not 2, it's false, so it goes on to the next one. Comes up to this case here, which is the value of 3, and it's true. So the value is actually 3. The value of day is 3. So this is true, so it's going to run whatever code is inside this case here. So it's going to say Wednesday. But the reason why we have break is basically if this case here is true and it runs this line of code, it will then break or stop the switch statement from running. So it won't go on to check this case and this case. So if you leave break out, basically what will happen is if it checks this case and it's true, it will do whatever this case specifies. So it will run echo Wednesday. But even if that's true and it does whatever that case specifies, it will still keep going on and checking the rest of the cases, which is not very efficient and could slow down your program. So it's best to put a break statement or a line saying break at the end of each case, so that basically when it reaches a case that evaluates to true and it no longer needs to keep checking, then it can just basically stop checking and move on to the rest of the program, which is much more efficient. Now, at the moment, we've got 5 different cases here. We've got Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. But what if the value here is 6 or 7? So if we try 6 and refresh, we get nothing because there's no case that matches the value 6 or 7 or 8 or 9 or so on. So if we get another number, we might want to say that it's not a weekday. So if we get the number 7, we can say not a weekday. If we get the number 6, we can say not a weekday. Okay, so what we'll do, we'll leave day as 6, and what we could do here to match, if there's any other value that's entered that is not between 1 and 5, then we can add a default case. Okay, so we can say default, and we don't need to specify what the value is because it's just basically if it's not going to be any of these values here, so anything else. So default, what we'll do is echo not a weekday, and we'll also add a break there. Okay, so now the value is 6. So if I refresh after saving, it says not a weekday. If it's 7, it should be the same. And if it's any other number, so if it's like 300 and I save and refresh, it will still stay not a weekday. So I've got 5 different cases here, and then we've got a default case which will run if none of these other cases have been met. Okay, so that's basically how to use switch statements in PHP. Very similar to if statements, but you can see that it's a little bit neater, and if you've got lots of different conditions to check for a single variable, then it's a bit neater and a bit more organized, and you can also write less code. You don't have to keep writing if or else if. You can just use your variable once and next to switch, so you can say switch and then variable in brackets and then just the individual cases there. Alright, so that's all for this tutorial. Thanks for watching.